Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the DKF 24, to the stream Market Data Products and Solution. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Daniel Winkler. I'm working for MD Next, which stands for Market Data Next Generation. We have a presentation this afternoon too, which will you advise on powering up your market data management. But now I want to hand over to Stepan. He is a strategic account director at DXFeed, and he will present enabling AI in market data. IAAS, oh my God, paradigm shifts and building blocks. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. As a matter of fact, I wanted to start with a story because I was preparing for the presentation yesterday and was talking with my colleague in the DXFeed, and we realized that probably about 5 years ago, Oleg actually made a presentation here in DKF about AI, virtual reality, and augmented reality, and how it will change the market data world. So, and I believe he was the only one. It was the only one presentation back then that had words AI in it. So I looked through the agenda today. Yeah, boy, we change. It's changed a lot. Okay, that's. Okay. Can you try to? Because this is the video that's supposed to be running. So, and the reason is the AI is changing the infrastructure. AI is changing the markets as we speak. As a matter of fact, last year, the whole Actors Guild in Hollywood in the US went on a strike. And one of the things that Actors Guild actually was trying to negotiate on is how the use of AI models will be regulated in terms of the representative personas. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So, and the reason is pretty simple. So this is the video. That is not a video. That was actually created completely by generative AI. So there were no dog, no phone, no sand, no ocean, nothing. So this is a 10-second video. This was completely created by generative AI model. So we are definitely looking into the process that will overcome quite a lot of activities on how we generate content, how we distribute content, and how we work with the content. But we came a long way. But we are definitely not there yet. And the reason is pretty simple. The large language models, they do some things quite well, but they still have certain inherited things that we still need to work on. And the first and foremost of them is credibility and reliability. So everyone who tried to play with the certain generative AI models knows that AI models are not exactly reliable in the quality of data they are providing. It requires serious fine-tuning if you really want to get the results that you can use. There are a lot of questions about security of the information we are providing to the general AI models. To train the models and run the models is quite an expensive task, hardware-wise, so we need quite a lot of compute resources in order to do that. And this is something that industry is changing with every single iteration of those models. So, as I told, DXFeed started to play with generative AI models probably five years ago. So we went quite a long way from using the general models available to pre-training the models or doing additional training of the models. But we're still not convinced that at this point of time, we can use the models as is. So for the sake of this presentation, we basically will look into the vertical structure that we created internally that create both products that are using generative AI to an extent, as well as other things that we have in order to distribute the data and in order to process the data and distribute the data to the customer. So for the sake of this presentation, I will not be talking about AI that much, as I will be talking about AI-augmented APIs. So basically, there are two things that models are doing quite reliable and quite efficient as of now. First of them is basically convert the free-form natural text into, and basically dissect it and get the information, get the certain data pieces out of this text. Other thing is basically the other way around. The models are quite well in terms of getting a lot of data pieces and compile them in something that will be easy to read and understand. Let's take a look into how it actually works. So, for those of you in the industry, this is not something new, so probably every single person in this room does use news feeds to an extent. So we are getting the news wires, and we as a market data company, we are basically keeping this information into the news database. What we now doing is we're using pre-trained model to actually dissect those news, get the information about mentioned companies, industries, symbols, then use general APIs to actually look for the data in our own databases, in the news database itself. As a matter of fact, we get other news pieces related to the same company, for instance. Or in the fundamental database, to take a look what's going on with the corporate actions. Or in the market data database to see how a company behaved. And then we can use pre-trained model again to actually assemble this data and augment the news that we took this data from with the information that we collected. And here how it looks like. Now, we have the Dow Jones Newswire that Lufax declares special dividends at $1.21 per share. So what we actually was able to collect, that this company actually reported a lower revenue than expected. Despite of this company announced a special dividends per share, and price and market price of the company shares actually surged 40%. And this is what we actually can do with the combination of language model and the general APIs and data that we are collected over the time we're distributing this data. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, I can use exactly the same process to actually process some kind of general input. So if someone will provide me with certain kind of request, I can use exactly the same algorithm to basically dissect it, get the information about what companies the person is interested in, get the information from our databases, and basically provide the reply. And here we go. We just make ourselves a chatbot. So again, everyone and his dog is making some kind of GPT chats now. But in this specific case, we are not talking about pre-trained model that will handle the data parsing, data collection, reasoning, and delivering the output. We are talking about using the model to recognize a text, send it to the answer API, which will basically request the data from the news feeds, the market data feeds, fundamentals database, compile this into readable form, and basically send back to the human, to whatever interface we're using. Which led us to something that looks like a product. Because basically exactly the same concept can be used to generate the general news reports. So basically, we can do for our customers, we can generate a general news report on what's going on the market within last day or last week or last month. The algorithm will be very, very similar, with the exception of one more step. When we're getting the compilation, we're getting the SF from the model at the very end, we're using a special tool to actually render it, either in HTML or PDF format, or whatever other format our customer will be asking us for. And this is kind of a global approach. So we are creating a generalized news information that can be delivered to the customers. At this point, despite we are kind of 99.9% sure that we do not introduce any kind of non-legit information into the mix, I probably still would recommend customers to have someone who will actually do the quality check on this before sending it out to wider audience. But basically, we can make one step forward and do exactly the same thing on the personalized level. Say you are a brokerage, like most of my customers, and you have customers that are using your platform for trading. So they are keeping watch lists, so they're keeping the portfolio data. We basically can provide you with the API. You can send out the list of symbols, and in response, you will get the human quality text that will basically describe the news associated with the list of symbols. You can further customize it. So you basically can tell us, okay, we want to, to stress what's happening with the options for these underlyings, or what happens with the commodities. So it can be quite customized quite a lot, but it is generated on basically per customer basis. And it can be delivered either to our customer to distribute it in whatever way they see fit, or if we are distributing the market data to the end-user terminals through our infrastructure as a service approach, then we basically can deliver to the terminal directly. So it can be absolutely automatic, no human-involved process that initiated by the customer or initiated by the end user or initiated by our customer. Same thing with the index performance reports. So our indices and AI team created two purpose-built tools. One of them is custom-built performance calculator that basically analyzes the index performance and provides the data in a certain kind of structured way. And we also created a pre-trained language model to actually work with this tool. So basically, as of now, we are automatically generating index performance reports, but nothing can prevent our customers to actually request those reports on demand if they want to, and deliver them either in B2C or B2B2C fashion. And if we are delivering this information to the analytical terminal or the trading terminal, then we can additionally enrich this data with the real-time micromarket data and our UI elements. So in this specific case, if we are given information about the company, we can provide the charts. It can be simple charts, it can be complex charts. If we're delivering this to the platform, they will be real-time or delayed. We can provide with a heat map. Say you want to have a news-generated report about your portfolio, the heat map seems like a good place to start in terms of what's going on with the portfolio over the period. It can be company cards, so with fundamentals information about the companies. So basically, those reports can be customized almost to no extent. So whatever you want, we can do. So this is some peek of the products that we have that actually combine our data, our APIs, internal APIs, as well as general models or pre-trained models. Let's take a look on how it works under the hood. So from the general models perspective, we are quite a lot using Amazon Bedrock. So for the testing purposes, for the training purposes, Amazon Bedrock is quite a nice place. You can play with different language models, both open source as well as private, and it's quite handy if you want to play with them. We also use GPT functions, which are basically a process created by OpenAI at some point of time, when we take the information out of the input and basically pass the information to certain functions, certain API. For the visualization purposes, we have a huge stack of the UI elements, which are highly customizable, which are relevant to to all market instruments, which can have built-in analytics and reporting. So if you are using it within the platforms, we can actually provide some feedback on what kind of information customer is looking for. Can be integrated easily. So, and last but not least, we are using something that, again, we started to hear more and more about, but effectively, DXFeed was doing this for the last probably over 10 years at this point. So we can deliver the market data, either real-time market data or snapshot market data, to the specific end user. So we can create a manageable infrastructure as a service, which will be cloud-based or virtualized, that we manage for the customer, that is highly scalable, secure, with very low latency. So this is something, again, that DXFeed was doing for tens of years at this point. So we started to use cloud-based infrastructure way before it was a trend. So in a nutshell, this is a very short preview of our vertical stack. From the exchange, through the normalization process for the market data, through the historical market data, through augmenting this data, analyzing this data, distributing this data to either backend for our customers or to the front end, to the terminals their clients using. And we are doing this for many, many years. So as we see now, the market data processing is becoming more and more complex. So we have some experience that can help moving down this road. And basically, cloud is probably the major building block that we are currently using. And we can help as much or as little as customer wants. So we can provide the whole stack, or we can provide the cherry-picked bits and pieces for this stack. But all in all, if you have any questions, I think we have time.
Yes, indeed. We have 12 minutes left over. Are there any questions? Sorry, just wait. Because, by the way, we are recording that, so you can access this presentation later on.
Hi, thanks a lot. So I think you mentioned on 3-4 slides back that you are using models from Meta and Amazon. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Why, or what's the background behind that? What's the benefit of it?
So basically on the market, nobody trained the model from the scratch. So we are using either, we have OpenAI with their pre-trained model. We have Meta with its open source Llama model. We have Amazon. So basically, those are general large language models that we can take, and for Meta it's open source, so we can take and additionally train in order to serve our purposes based on the data that we have, if it makes sense.
Any further questions? No? Okay. Thank you, Stepan. And